What up? It's your boy, the Incredible Man. And yes, I am back at it again. And this is Fire Force Season 2, Episode 5 review. And boy, there's nothing that needs to be said. Let's just dive right into it.
I don't think I do it good, no, I think I do it great. They would do it if they could, they can't do it so they hate. Everybody wanna look, but nobody wanna play. Stealing eyes.
Man, oh man, oh man, oh man. I'm not going to talk about the animation because I feel like talking about it at this point is going to be kind of redundant because each week it's fantastic. So we're just going to leave it at that and talk about everything else, man. Now, this episode, like last week, was a continuation of everything that's going on right now. And I gotta say, I loved it from the beginning to the end. There was a lot of stuff that was going on, but they handled it with the pacing and everything. They handled it very, very good because we got enough time for each individual thing, and it didn't feel rushed. It didn't seem like they were skipping out on some things. The pacing was very, very nice, and we got to see. I finally learned his name officially. Karen and Shinra's actual full fight, like there was no really cutaways. Everything was pretty much focused on their fight. We started this episode and we see Arthur taking on Hamamea, or Hamamea, however you want to say her name. Anyway, he's still fighting her. Their fight's pretty much at a stalemate. But Shinra and Karen's fight is on a totally different level. And we see this episode that Shinra finally learns Karen's abilities, and we learned that he's a second generation pyrokinetic. And Shinra kind of got a little warped a little with it at first because Karen kept throwing out these different attacks, and he kept assuming that he was a third generation creating his own flames, but that's not the case. He's a second generation, and I love how they showed that to us and let Shinra learn it at the same time, because we got to see the lieutenant kind of break down the usefulness of a second generation, which was definitely came into play this episode. In the back half of this episode, the second generation users came into play, and if it wasn't for Maki, the lieutenant, and the others from the second company and the fifth company, they probably wouldn't have been able to defeat the demon. So gotta give props where props is due to the second generations, and thanks to the lieutenant and Shinra figuring it out, we learned a little bit more about the second generations this episode, and Shinra took the fight to Karen. Now granted, it didn't really go his way at the very beginning of it. Like, he was still trying to figure out the move, and then we see like a flashback of Captain Obi telling him about what is it, Corona, however you, not Corona, I think it's Karna. Anyway, he showed him like we see the flashback of Captain Obi teaching Shinra about, the rock and roll symbol, or the devil horns, take your pick, and the move actually is called Corner or whatever. And then that whole thing, Shinra's trying to figure it out while fighting Karen, and it's not really getting anywhere. And then he was like, well, maybe I'm not hype enough. And then we see him reminiscing back to when he was training with Benimaru, and he finally figured it out after taking the beat, because he was getting beat. Like, because Karen mentioned it, like, well, so you figured it out. What are you going to do now? Because you couldn't use your flames to attack him. So Shinra was just taking the hits, man. He was just getting hit left and right. And then he finally figured it out, and they got into a full-blown fight. And when Karen used his pyrokinetic powers and Shinra used his, there was a huge explosion. And in that moment, we see Inca figuring out, like, oh, wow, no way. Because she knew a huge explosion was about to come and take place. And then we see that, like a devil itself forms out of Shinra's explosion or combination of powers, and it just attacks Karen and finishes dude. We thought, and the next thing you know, Karen comes up, and oh my gosh, man, dude done Shinra wrong. Shinra was like, now you can let go of her. The Fire Force is gonna take control of her right now. And next thing you know, you see Karen come, and this man clothesline Shinra so hard, Shinra hit a flip. Like, he turned mid-air and just flipped over, and then he just punched him straight into the wall, and Shinra's out. But like, like for that moment, he's out. But a lot of stuff I really love this episode. We see Inca and Shinra both have that whole, oh look, I'm a little demented a little bit, but danger excites me, and I'm gonna have a huge smile and creepy grin on my face. And I'm wondering, is that a whole thing with the pillars? Because Hamarea's a little crazy. The first pillar's crazy. Inca's a tad crazy. Sho a little crazy. Shinra's crazy. So is all of the pillars actually a little gone in the head, just a tad? Maybe, I don't know. I'm starting to see a trend with all of the pillars being just a tad crazy a little bit. Then we also see Lieutenant Karam of the first company using his powers, and everybody's like, "Oh wow, he froze the demon." Yeah, well he did, but the demon escaped. And then that's when we jump into the episode and we see all of these people coming together to fight the demon. Now they mentioned something very wonderful about it is that Victor made the actual statement that we need a lot of firepower to take down a demon inferno, and the only people that's known to take down one so far are the seventh company, which is Benimaru and his lieutenant. They're the only ones that was able to take down a demon inferno, and they done it by themselves. But we don't have any of those, and Obi was like, I called, but they never answered their phone. So we don't have anybody with that kind of firepower there to take them down. So they had to create that firepower, and in doing so, we see all of the second generations coming in to help, because Victor came up with a plan to have all of the fire that's within the city, that's in all these different places, swept up into the center of the city to create a firestorm. Oh, dude, it was so epic. It was so epic. And huge shout out to Victor too for creating such a wonderful idea, because that's the only move they had to really take down this demon inferno. And we see Maki controlling the huge firestorm. So definitely props to Maki as well, because that's a lot of power and a lot of firepower that she has to control and maintain. And she couldn't keep it in check when it was all said and done. But like while they needed her to, she kept it in control. And then the lieutenant comes in and uses his propulsion pyrokinetic powers and launches a rocket, and they shoot it, well, like a mini rocket, and they shoot it straight up the fire spiral or a firestorm, and the propulsion used from the lieutenant, and the power from it being swept up inside the firestorm shot through the demon inferno and killed him. But then Maki lost control, and that's where the Lieutenant Karam came in and just mollywopped it and froze it, and everybody can see it. It's just like a big, huge ice pillar. Come on, man. And in the clips, we see all of the other captains of the other companies, and they were like, and then we see Captain Hibana, Princess Hibana, and she was like, well, come on, 8th Company, you guys got this. Let's do this. And we see the 8th Company be triumphant and victorious, and everybody in the 8th Company put in work this time. Everybody. The sister, Tamaki, everybody put in work in the 8th Company this time. We see Vulcan doing his thing, because Captain Obi can't fire or play shooting games for some reason. And I like that as well, because the episode was getting super serious. Wasn't any comedy going on at that point, and Captain Obi in that moment brought the comedy back to Fire Force, because it was so serious throughout. But dude, I love that moment where Vulcan was like, you know what? I'm gonna get it to the point to where you can't miss. So he put him like right in front of it, and then he shot it, and it was good. Overall, it was a wonderful episode, and we see the conclusion of them defeating the Demon Inferno, but we still have Karen, Hamarea, and the other evangelists taking control of Inca, and Shinra's kind of in a pinch right now. So I feel like next week is going to be the final conclusion of everything that's going on. But dude, I really loved the episode, man. Like I say constantly, week in and week out, it's so good, man. Like I was going to say the animation, but I'm not going to talk about the animation. But it's so good because everything, oh boy, season 2 is banging, man. Season 2 is banging. This is your boy, Dick Incredible, man. Don't forget to smash the like button so you can't smash it anymore. Comment down below, and I'll be sure to respond to each and every one of them, and subscribe, but only if you really want to, man. Remember, the anime matters, anime is greatness, and anime is life, man. Peace out.
It's okay, yeah. I cannot complain, because today, yeah, I'm doing my thing. I stay my lane, yeah, and fight through the